All right, and here we go. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sports for Life podcast, and we will jump right into it. I'm trying to work on some sort of introduction. I could just say my name. It's like, hey, this is Ian. Welcome to the Sports for Life podcast. But you guys all know that, so I don't know. It's a work in progress. We'll see. But anyway, let me start out with we have a lot of stuff to discuss today. The Atlanta Braves won the World Series. I'm going to briefly talk about that. One of my all-time favorite baseball player retired. That's very bittersweet. We're going to talk about the Giants and the Kansas City Chiefs game, and that was something. Then I want to talk about the games I'm looking forward to on Sunday. So let me start out with the Giants and the Chiefs game. It was honestly kind of a boring game, and okay, the lightning's too bright. Hey, let me put on glasses. There we go. My glasses help me with a blue light and also just lighting in general. Because it's like 9 p.m. outside, but I'm filming right now. But that's neither here nor there. None of you guys are watching the show for that. But yeah, Giants and the Chiefs. I have a lot of thoughts about this. My first one is that nobody wanted to win this game. Kansas City has looked absolutely dreadful this season, and the game against the Giants was no exception. Patrick Mahomes, I believe, had 2 interceptions. He should have had maybe 4. He had a lot of dropped interceptions. It was just a sloppy game overall. And I live in the Kansas City area, so it's not like the weather was terrible or anything. Kansas City just isn't playing good football right now. I don't know what's going on. They aren't executing anything right now. I feel like Kansas City's they come off as a type of team that needs to be in a rhythm, and if they're off sync by just a little bit, the entire thing collapses. Yeah, Kansas. I don't know. They had, I think, 12 penalties for over 100 yards. They turned the ball over, I believe, 3 times. Should have been closer to 6. Like I said, Patrick Mahomes had a lot of drop picks. He looked terrible. He was making absolutely mind-bogglingly terrible decisions. Although the good news was they were playing the Giants, and the Giants also didn't want to win the game. So the Giants came into this game with a 2-5 record, and they lost. And now they're 2-6, and the Giants have not had a win record through the first 8 weeks of the season since 2016. So it's been 5 years, and they're just everything is just looks awful in New York right now. They aren't well coached. I thought Joe Judge was a good coach, but right this season he's proven everyone who believed in him to be wrong. The Giants are undisciplined, and also the play calling's terrible. Jason Garrett came in. He was trying to help Daniel Jones, but Daniel Jones is not better under Jason Garrett. So they have that problem along with them. So if you watch the Giants offense, they run a lot of screens. And I remember watching the game, and then Michael Strahan, who was a guest during the Manningcast, he's like, I don't understand. They're running a 4-yard pass on a 3rd and 5. And he's like, I don't understand why they're doing that. And, you Peyton Manning said maybe they're going for it on 4th down because that's more common these days, but the Giants don't have the personnel to go for it on 4th down. They should be going for it on 3rd down, trying to get the 1st down and see where you go. What you should be doing is setting up okay. So to run a 3rd down, let's say it's 3rd and 6, and I think the ball was at the 20-yard line, maybe. So let's put that situation. It's 3rd and 6, right? You run a play to get the 1st down. You don't run it to make it 4th and short, unless it's like the final minute of the game and you're down by a touchdown. Then you can set it up to be like, you can set up to have 2 plays. But in this situation, you want to set up. Because what you want to do is you want your first 2 options to be well past the 1st down marker. You want your 3rd option to be around it, and then you have your check down, which in this case would be Saquon Barkley. So what the Giants should run is you got Sterling Shepard in the slot. He can run up the middle. Evan Ingram can't catch. But in the hypothetical situation, he could catch. What he can do is run a cross route, and then you have Kenny Galladay go deep. So and then you have Saquon in the check down. Daniel Jones now has an excellent situation. And remember, the Chiefs' defense is terrible, so they can't cover anybody. But instead, the Giants give Daniel Jones one option like every play, and I'm sure he has other options, but they just don't finish running their routes because he doesn't have time to throw. And this brings us to the Giants' biggest problem is that their offensive line is one of the worst in football. We were watching the final drive of that game, and it's just brutal. They couldn't even complete a pass. The first play they ran, he threw it to Sterling Shepard too early, and he didn't catch it because the pressure came immediately. The second play, he was sacked, and Michael Irvin was a guest, and he said, "I don't know how Daniel Jones takes that sack." And Eli Manning, and I think Eli Manning really likes Daniel Jones. He seems like his friend. He really was trying to defend him all night. But on that play, he explained it's like a quarterback can't make a play in 3 seconds because the line broke down immediately. So Daniel, I don't know what he can because he doesn't have time to leave the pocket and throw the ball away because they're 3 seconds. He can't just chuck it because that would be grounding. You lose it down anyway. So Daniel Jones was in a horrible situation, and they didn't even right. The Kansas City wasn't even blitzing on these plays. They only brought 4 guys each time. Just the Giants' offensive line is so bad that they couldn't do anything. So the Giants have an offensive line issue, and I don't understand how it's still an issue, and it's been an issue for literally ever now. All right, Eli Manning never had good offensive lines his entire career, and I am one of the biggest Eli Manning's biggest critics. But that being said, he never had an offensive line his entire career, and it's just worse now than it's ever been. Almost, you look at how Daniel Jones has been playing, and I know I've been a pretty big critic of Daniel Jones, but he won't succeed in New York. I think if Daniel Jones wants to have a successful NFL career, he's got to pivot and get out of New York. I don't know. Go play for a team with like go play for a competent team. Right? There's a time when the New York Giants were one of the best franchises in the NFL, and now we are at the point where they are not at all. They are terrible. Honestly, they're in the worst situation than the Jets. So I don't. New York, the trade deadline came and went, and the NFL didn't do anything. So, but I think it is. I don't. You can't fire Joe Judge. I think because it's only his second season. It's not like you have to absolutely fire Dave Gettleman. He's been a disaster so far. He is. He became their general manager in 2018. He's missed on almost every single one of their picks. So in 2018, they took Saquon Barkley over second overall, a move that I criticized at the time. Giants fans were very happy, but Giants fans don't really know any better. So, you know, they were happy with Saquon Barkley, and I said at the time they should have taken Quentin Nelson. So that was wrong. But Saquon Barkley, I can't really excuse it because everyone should have known that Saquon Barkley should not have been taken second overall. But I'll just give them a pass because you know what? Maybe they thought they could land some great players in the second and third round. Or maybe they just thought Saquon Barkley was just so talented that they couldn't pass over him. 2019, they drafted Daniel Jones 6th overall, and then they drafted DeAndre Baker's in prison now. And they drafted Dexter Lawrence. So they didn't hit on any of those picks. And so you want about Daniel Jones, but I think the truth is that he has been a massive disappointment in New York. And I don't know if that's necessarily his fault. He hasn't received great coaching, and he has a terrible offensive line. Now, I will give him one thing is that he does have some good wide receivers. The problem is Kenny Galladay's never healthy. Sterling Shepard is always injured also. Saquon Barkley is constantly injured now. So and he also has Pro Bowl tight end Evan Ingram. So, But yeah, they missed on all those picks. And then 2020, they came around. I don't even. Who did they draft? They drafted Andrew Thomas, the left tackle. Or right tackle. I think he plays right tackle. Nate Solder's the left tackle. He's been dreadful. So he hasn't been very good. And then in this year's draft, they drafted Kadarius Toney, and he's also injured. So in short, New York doesn't do anything well. Their defense is not as good as it was last year. So New York has, I don't know. I think maybe either well, what they definitely need to do is, well, they don't have cap space, so now they've dug themselves into a hole. They find a new GM and like build an offensive line. Maybe they're in such a terrible situation because they don't have any cap space and they can't eat any of their contracts right now. So I don't know. New York seems it's they might have to tank and just eat the cash for a while. Now Kansas City, on the other hand, I wasn't impressed at all by their win. I thought they looked horrible. I don't know what's going on in Kansas City. They're playing Sunday against Green Bay, and Aaron Rodgers is out. So Jordan Love is making his first career start. Game I'm very excited for, and I'll get to that in the games I'm really excited for. But overall, I think the Giants have problems. Kansas City also has problems. I don't know who's going to fix them. Well, Kansas City's going to fix them first. They're actually well ran. But New York has so many problems. I don't even know where to begin. But yeah, they have problems, and Kansas City maybe they'll be able to catch a break here and there. But I wasn't impressed. I was very disappointed with both teams on Monday Night Football. So that's my opinion on Monday Night Football. And yeah, thanks for watching.